Welcome to the Explainer. Imagine this. You're fast asleep, and your company's brand new AI sales agent is handling an after-hours call. Sounds like a business owner's absolute dream, right? The ultimate scalable asset. But we need to establish a very serious reality right here, right now. If you deploy out-of-the-box B2B Voice AI without rigorous, enterprise-grade cybersecurity controls, you're not building a profit engine. You're deploying a massive, unmitigated legal threat. Today, we're exposing the critical hidden flaws in this technology, and I'm going to give you the exact engineering blueprint to fix them. Let's look at exactly how this disaster actually starts. A prospect pushes for a better rate, and the AI, which is designed to be endlessly helpful, casually responds with something like, "Thanks for calling Acme Solutions. Based on our current promotion, I can lower your enterprise contract price from $10,000 to $5,000 per year, locked in for 3 years. Should I send over the invoice now?" It sounds wonderfully fluid, remarkably human, but the AI just gave away a 50% discount, completely unprompted and completely unauthorized. That single 10-second phone call just cost an enterprise client $15,000 in lost revenue. And honestly, the absolute worst part? The business owner had zero idea it even happened until the signed, legally binding contract hit their inbox the next morning. No alert, just lost money. Okay, let's dive into this, because right now, every tech influencer online is screaming about AI voice agents. They're showing off these shiny dashboards, claiming you can replace a 20-person telemarketing team overnight for pennies on the dollar, just generating passive income. But what they are completely failing to tell you is that without incredibly specific architectural guardrails, unchecked voice agents are catastrophic legal and financial liability machines. So consider this your formal enterprise cybersecurity threat briefing. We're going to cover 1. The core AI engine, 2. The hallucination paradox, 3. The GDPR liability trap, and then we'll get into our 3-layer fix. 4. Layer 1, the consent gatekeeper, 5. Layer 2, deterministic calling, and finally 6. Layer 3, circuit breaker middleware. All right, let's jump right into section 1, the core AI engine. Before we can secure the system, we really have to acknowledge why this tech is so overwhelmingly convincing to human callers in the first place. We're looking at a highly sophisticated orchestration stack, typically managed by platforms like Vapi AI. In step 1, the system uses Deepgram Nova 2 for speech-to-text, which drops latency to around 200 milliseconds and accurately parses heavy B2B accents. Step 2 relies on a reasoning model like GPT-4 Omni for incredibly rapid context switching. And finally, Step 3 utilizes 11 Labs Turbo V2.5 for incredibly realistic voice synthesis. Now, this entire pipeline is specifically engineered to respond in under 800 milliseconds. That exact number is crucial. It's the psychological threshold where a pause stops feeling like a clunky machine glitch and starts feeling like a natural human breath. 11 Labs even injects natural conversational fillers, things like "got it" or "mm-hmm." It's called back-channeling. This lightning-fast speed drops the human caller's psychological guard entirely. But listen to me carefully. If you stop your setup right here, like most basic tutorials do, this is exactly where your legal disaster begins. Which brings us to section 2, the hallucination paradox. Let's look analytically at the fundamental mathematical weakness of these models. We're dealing with what's known as the audio hallucination confidence paradox. Think about it. When a standard text-based AI hallucinates on a website, it just looks like a typo. You chuckle, realize it's a bot, and refresh the page. No big deal. But large language models are probabilistic engines. They literally predict the next word to please the user, not to state absolute truth. So when a voice AI hallucinates, it weaponizes that sub-800 millisecond latency to deliver factual falsehoods with this unflinching, warm human confidence. And that right there triggers a severe legal threat known as promissory estoppel. Because the AI implies that warm, confident inflection, the prospect reasonably believes they are speaking to an authorized representative of your company. In contract law, verbal commitments made by an authorized agent, even an artificial one, can constitute a legally binding agreement. So by running an out-of-the-box system, you are literally handing the keys to your company's treasury to a random number generator that just wants to be a people pleaser. It's wild. And that leads us to section 3, the GDPR liability trap. Because as if accidentally giving away your revenue wasn't bad enough, deploying out-of-the-box voice agents introduces a massive international regulatory nightmare. If your business processes calls with European residents, you are automatically handling vocal biometrics, recording these voice streams, transmitting raw audio across international borders to US-based servers, and storing transcripts without explicit real-time consent is a blatant violation of Article 6 and Article 44 of the GDPR, alongside US FISA 702 liabilities. The penalty for this? Instant regulatory fines reaching up to 20 million euros, or 4% of your global annual turnover. That is company-ending stuff.
And this brilliantly illustrates the crossroads of this technology right now. Out-of-the-box AI is prompt-based, it relies on implicit instructions, and it's highly prone to confident falsehoods. It is a true liability machine. To turn this into a secure revenue asset, we absolutely must transition to an enterprise-grade system. How? By surrounding the probabilistic AI with rigid, deterministic engineering controls. This brings us to the 3-layer safeguard architecture I promised you.
Let's dive into Section 4. Layer 1, the Consent Gatekeeper. First things first, we have to start by entirely neutralizing the international wiretapping liabilities right at the source. You must never start a conversation with an open-ended greeting if you record calls. Just don't do it. In your system prompt, you have to implement a hard-coded dynamic preamble script saying something like, "This call is recorded for quality and legal compliance." And here's the kicker. If the caller denies consent, you cannot rely on the AI to understand European privacy nuances. You must never trust an LLM to act as your compliance officer. Instead, if negative consent is given, the system has to rely on a digital tripwire. A webhook fires instantly, completely bypassing the AI's conversational logic. It sends a programmatic signal to the server, setting recording enabled to false. It mechanically severs the feed, ensuring biometric data physically stops flowing to your storage, guaranteeing compliance completely deterministically. No guessing, just a hard stop. Moving on to Section 5, Layer 2, Deterministic Calling. With the legal privacy secured, we now move to the second layer, which is designed to completely strip financial authority away from the AI. Think of your AI as a courier with a locked briefcase. It cannot negotiate, it can only hand over the data inside. We achieve this through deterministic function calling. We must explicitly tell the system that it does not possess the authority to do math or offer discounts on its own. Let's meticulously walk through how this actually works in practice. First, you completely remove all pricing from your system prompt. Just take it out. Second, instruct the AI that it must invoke a specific tool, let's call it Get Verified Pricing, whenever a prospect asks about costs. When triggered, this temporarily pauses the AI's probabilistic guessing. The API then fetches a read-only JSON payload directly from your secure backend server. And finally, the LLM is forced to read strictly verbatim from that payload. By doing this, you've entirely removed math and negotiation from the AI, literally eliminating financial hallucination. All right, Section 6, Layer 3, Circuit Breaker Middleware. But look, what happens when the human caller gets frustrated? We have to acknowledge that seasoned procurement managers will actively attempt to socially engineer the bot into bypassing those very tools we just set up. If the LLM buckles under conversational pressure, we deploy the ultimate failsafe. This is Layer 3, the Circuit Breaker Middleware. Think of it like an inline electrical fuse. It's a lightweight Node.js or Python server running on edge functions, sitting physically between the text generation and the 11 Labs voice synthesizer. So, the crucial point is this. In a matter of milliseconds, this middleware runs rigorous regex and classifier scans on the text stream before it is ever spoken out loud. It actively hunts for unauthorized currency symbols or legal keywords like guarantee or contract signed. If it catches a rogue hallucinated offer, it blows the fuse. It destroys the payload and gracefully substitutes a safe direct quote fallback phrase, like offering to send a link to their phone instead. Crisis averted. The reality of enterprise engineering is that properly constrained systems perfectly marry human-like conversational fluency with machine-like legal precision. Yes, webhook state management, API function calling, and edge function middleware take real work to set up, but they transform a dangerous toy into an infinitely scalable, profit-generating asset. It's time to stop building liability machines. You can actually download the complete architecture, including the free Vapi JSON schemas, system prompt templates, and the exact middleware code over at istartfromzero.com. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and tune in for more deep dives here on The Explainer. And I want to leave you with this provocative final thought. Are you building a scalable revenue asset for your company's future, or are you just deploying an unchecked liability, ticking away at 800 milliseconds? Stay sharp, everyone.